Hear the real story behind the story. Coming right at you. Only on 933 KFM.
Welcome back to this edition of the 933 KFM Hot Seat, discussing issues at Makerere and how they reflect on the country. On the hot seat, we have Godber Tumushabe, Asiimwe, and Chairman Norbert Mao. The show is brought to you by Nile Gold, and the coffee with drink is supplied by Brand Cafe. Chairman Mao, you still get invited a lot of times to Makerere University. The quality of discussion and intellectual debates you engage in at Makerere University, what do you make of them compared to your time and the time before your time?
Actually, a university, by its very name, is supposed to be an institution for free research, free thinking, and free expression. Now, your first question was whether Makerere is just a symptom of a deeper malaise, national malaise. It's true. All the public institutions have gone to the dogs, or rather the dogs have come to them. It does not matter which public institution you talk about. Even Chankwanze, which is supposed to have real cadres, Chankwanze is having. So the problem with Makerere is interference. It's political interference. It's and if the Bank of Uganda, which we thought was really insulated from political interference, has been a victim of political interference, and even Professor Mutebile now, he's just one of them, then what about Makerere? Makerere is now becoming what in America is called pork, another item. It is like soon a vice chancellor is going to be like an RDC, somebody who cannot even make a decision, has to look over his shoulders. I believe strongly under the laws there is a possibility for a visitation committee. I think there should be a serious visitation committee. It should prepare a serious report, should be discussed. This is not...
How has the political interference manifested itself in Makerere?
It has manifested itself, for instance, by the government being uncomfortable with the debate which they perceive to be hostile. But that's the essence of a university. If you don't want people to think freely and to express themselves freely, close down all the universities. I think that would be more honest. Secondly, in terms of appointments, because some people are perceived to be close, in quotes, to State House and to the powers that be, no one wants to touch them. Makerere has a university council. Why was the university council leaving the debate about the position of vice chancellor to Tanga Odoi?
Tanga Odoi leads the...
But that's not the body to be discussing. For instance, can you imagine if the monitor staff circle is the one now discussing editorial policy in their annual general meeting? Then you know that you have a problem. I know if your savings and credit cooperative is now discussing editorial policy, there would be a problem. Or for instance, if the Aga Khan starts telephoning you and he says, you know, Charles, I don't like Norbert Mao, then I think it is time for you to move away. That is how political interference has messed up Makerere University. The idea of resource shortages is simply because the university has become too big. You have a university where they now use public address systems to address students. You have 300 students. That's a small
Chairman, if you could allow me to interject there. I think the university has not become too big. The university needs to be big, but it still has to provide a quality service. Now, I think the challenge that we have is that as a country we've gotten our priorities wrong. So we want to have university education, have en masse university education, including at Makerere University, but where do we put our money? We put our money into running the political patronage network. So you put the money, you increase enrollment of students at the university. Instead of increasing the number of lecturers, you increase the number of institutes, you increase the number of districts, increase the number of counselors. instead of investing in building the accommodation infrastructure, you are doing all kinds of things. So I think, to be fair on the numbers, my view is that if we had the courage as a government, as a country, to say yes, university education is so important to take us at the frontiers of the 21st century global economy, then we would be putting our money there. But we are trying to pretend that we are actually promoting university education and other forms of education when actually we are putting our money elsewhere.
Let us ask some question about the numbers game. Jackie talked about the wet faculties and dry faculties. The wet faculties collect the most money, have the most number of students. The dry faculties collect the least money, have the least challenges with the numbers, and therefore resources are constrained. Is it a failure of investment? Because this argument has been raised around for so many years. President Museveni always talks about the budget or the size of the economy when he took over in 1986. $380 million? Was it worth that? I think about $380 million. Now he's dealing with an economy that is 5,000 times that.
Yeah.
And still wants to justify the failure to deliver services on limited resources. But when it suits, you say we have increased revenue collection. So doesn't that apply to Makerere? For example, Faculty of Arts, Faculty of Social Sciences, Faculty of Law, and others.
A quick clarification,
Sure.
just before Norbert comes in. That's
I need to speak close to the microphone,
yeah,
please.
that actually, yes, $40 million in 1986, but we were, I think, dealing with a population of about 12 million, if I remember very well. But now you are also dealing with a population of 34 million, which is more or less like three times the size of the population.
But the population, yes, Chairman, the population brings in more money. The more people you have, the more money you're making, and how you allocate those resources. It doesn't matter whether you have a family of 2 people and your entire income is 10,000 shillings, or you have a family of 10 and you're getting 100,000, does it?
I would like us to look at the question of prioritization. Jackie made a subtle point about some departments whose budgets are generally approved, complete with supplementary. We should talk about State House. How come that no one wants State House to lament about lack of money? Why should it be Makerere University? But the question of the size of the university is also a question of planning. You don't just admit students without taking into consideration your facilities, the classrooms, and so on. It's important. I think otherwise we'll end up like the Pioneer buses. There's a big notice there saying no standing, but so many people are standing in the bus. You know, this is the irony. And you know, you must set clear rules, and you say LLB 1, we are going to have 45 students.
Yeah.
But now if you have LLB and you have people are just learning by rumors, it's a problem. I believe very, very strongly in the because I really want in this discussion for us to be proactive. I have a lot of things I could say about Makerere just to tear it to shreds. But Makerere is my alma mater. So we need a visitation committee of credible citizens to go and unearth these issues. They should listen and come up with recommendations. Secondly, the government should allow the to function minimum. It doesn't mean that public institutions can't work. I mean, the National Water and Sewerage Corporation has tried to deliver some results despite some weaknesses. Thirdly, it's very important that we insist on quality. There is no reason why people should just be admitted
en masse
because you know they have the minimum qualification. And it doesn't matter where you're from. I started my education from a village school which didn't even have P7. When I did P7, my results disappeared. I ended up in Wairaka. And after 2 years, I told my dad, I can't continue here. There were strikes, there was anarchy. I went to Namilyango. In Namilyango, the class voted that I would now occupy permanently the last position, since I was from a so-called third world school. So I worked very hard. And when I left Namilyango to go to Makerere, I had gotten 18 out of the 19 available points. One of the highest marks in the country. So there are those who want to be pitied, that affirmative action doesn't mean that you should go to a bad doctor. Can you go to a bad doctor and say they should cut open your heart? I believe very, very strongly that the problem of Makerere is a lack of political will in government to confront the problems. Secondly, the appointments of administrators in Makerere follows a patronage system. Already the selection of position of vice chancellor is taking on political undertones. Whose candidate is who? I think that is soon they are going to say we vote. So we the alumni, we go and line up behind our favorite people. Is that the best way? Lastly, I agree with you, Charles, that Makerere's problem is symptomatic of the problems that we have in Uganda today.
We need to take a commercial break, and when we come back, how does Makerere get placed in the global context that Jackie talked about? Producing what quality of graduates to do what? The side of innovation and thinking. We'll be right back.
It's live. It's hot.